Hello, everybody, and welcome to 15-Minute FBA. I'm your host, David Barry, and today we'll be discussing infographics and how adding these to your listings can boost your performance on Amazon. To discuss this topic, I'm delighted to be joined by Mariska Harris, a branding expert from OutlineMatic.com. Hello, Mariska.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm very well. And yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Well, I'm excited about this topic because honestly, it's one I know very little about. So if you'd like to share your screen and we can get started with the presentation.
Sure, let me share my screen with you.
Awesome.
Okay. So, as you know, branding tools available to Amazon sellers. Your main things are your logo, your packaging, inserts, photos, and EDC. Now, infographics will go under photos and EDC, which forms part of your Amazon listing. So why infographics are important? It's your product profile basically on Amazon. So makes your product listing stand out, and it's a quick and easy way to show your potential customers information about your product, and it increases sales. And why I say it increases sales is because it helps your client or your customer, potential customer, make a quick decision whether to purchase your product or your competitor's product by seeing that information on the listing.
Mariska, I think that makes a lot of sense because Amazon, it's such a competitive marketplace these days. And, you know, from a seller's point of view, we're always thinking about how we can beat each other. But a customer's perspective is very much, it's a comparison site for Amazon. So Amazon customers, they're often dealing with two very similar products. And if everything is equal, everything else is equal. And then someone has an amazing infographic compared to another person, you know, that is going to be enough to get the sale. So for sure, we're always looking for an edge. And I think infographics are definitely one area that can do that.
Yeah, definitely. If you have a very limited budget, I would say your infographics is something that you can definitely spend a lot of time on to help you in boosting your sales. Because as you said, it's when a customer has those two products that they're viewing at the moment, a little thing like your visual presentation of your product can give you that sale. Okay, so I'm going to get started on the do's of infographics. So there aren't that many rules with the layout and all that. It's just basically to keep it simple and informative, to use high quality photography. That's very important because as soon as you use low quality photography, it's going to give your potential customer the idea that maybe your product's even low quality. And then making use of icons and visual explanations to explain your product. People don't want to read a bunch of text. So if you have a nice image of your product and you have a few highlighting features, maybe zooming in on a part of your product and bringing out those highlights in that way, that's also a nice way of getting your potential customers' attention. And then easy and readable text, big text that's easy and quick to read, and then a clean layout. So you don't want, you have your 2000 by 2000 pixel space square, so you don't want to clutter that with too much images and information. Just keep it clean and simple. Rather have more listing images that they can quickly scan through and quickly have a good idea of what's going on there and what you have available than having one infographic with all of that information.
Yeah, and I think on point four there, the easy readable text, I think the trend in e-commerce now is mobile. More and more people are, you know, accessing and researching product listings on mobile devices. So again, if you have too much text in really small font, it's going to be really difficult for those mobile visitors, right? So that makes a lot of sense. I think it's going to be even more important going forward.
Yeah, definitely. So that's definitely a big thing. As you said, everybody's doing stuff on mobile. People like, if you take, for example, Instagram, I think that's why people like it so much, because it's so quick to go through it, that small square images. Imagine if you have your infographics to have that same effect on your potential clients. It's going to be
Yeah.
a good effect.
I'm just thinking now, you gave me an idea. Infographics are immediately good social media material too, right? For promoting, you can promote that on Instagram as well and try to build a profile of your brand.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you can have your infographics and use them as is to promote your product on Instagram, why not? It's it's a nice little layout for ads as well. Okay, so then the don'ts for infographics is, as I mentioned, with everything that you have to do, it's basically the opposite. So don't use lots of text, don't use low quality images, don't have a bunch of useless information, small, hard to read text, and it shouldn't be messy and have lots of colors. You should have a main focal point on your infographic and explain around that main focal point. Okay, so I have a few examples of infographics that we've done. It's only not much, but it's just to show you what you can do. And if you have something like this chalk marker, for example, it's just a basic marker, but just showing those three little icons there at the top, it already gives the consumer the information that it's eco-friendly, it's not for a certain age group, and it's non-toxic. And then if you don't have your product in all the colors that it comes available, it's just easy to make use of little circles in that color. So you don't always have to have your product available, photos available in all your colors. You can just do something as simple as this to give your consumer an idea of what they can expect. And then here's for the same product listing, a quick visual presentation of everywhere that it can be used, where it's going to be permanent and not permanent. Now, people are visual and they like to see images. So this is, if you take away those images, and it's going to be so boring to just read, but when you see those little icons with and the text, it's much faster to understand even and to read than just to have the simple text.
Yeah, I really like that one, Mariska, too, from a customer standpoint, too, right? So if I'm a seller and I'm thinking about what could be the potential objections to someone not buying my product, I want to answer, the frequently asked questions. So by doing this here, potentially, instead of someone having to search your listing for an answer to this, they're saying, okay, perfect. I can use it on this surface. I'm going to go ahead and purchase this product. So you're just making it easier on the customer, which I really like.
Yes, you definitely, by doing this, getting your customer to make an easy decision between yours and someone else's. And as soon as you have something as easy as to read like this, it's going to make it easier for your potential client. So that's really a good thing to have these visual elements in your infographics. And the next infographic is a simple example when, if you don't have images of your product and you don't have a lot of information that you can say about your product, rather inform your potential clients about something that has to do with your product. So this was a simple wedge cushion for babies, and they aren't allowed to directly say this prevents sudden infant death syndrome, but here's 10 ways to help protect your baby from SIDS. And this is a good way of informing your client about something related to your product if you don't necessarily have a bunch of information about your product, or if you're not allowed to say There are certain statements that you're not allowed to say, especially when it comes to baby products. You don't want to claim something directly. So it's better to do something like this, informing your client about anything to do with your product. The same with...
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Sorry to interrupt. It's like a little mini ebook, right? You're providing value to the customer before they've even bought your product. So you're trying to build up goodwill associated with your brand, and I guess that can only help with conversion. So nice idea.
Yes, a lot of people have the problem where they don't have much to say about their product, and they don't have a lot of product photography. So then we always recommend to them doing something like this, because like you just said, you're creating value before your potential customers even bought your product. So I think this is a really good way of doing exactly that. Here's another example of that. So even if you plan on having product photography done a bit later on, then you can always add onto your listing images. But just as long as you can have something there like this, it's gonna have your listing look better than your potential competition's listings. Okay, so here's a nice clean example of a pet supplement as well. It's where they don't have the image photography in a lifestyle setting, but just having this nice clean image of the dog and how you point out what it can help for is very informative, and it shows you that you don't necessarily have to have lifestyle images in your product listings to show things like this. Something like this is also, it's fun and clean, and it still informs your potential clients about your product, which is nice. The same with the second one. There you can just point out everything that's the ingredients that's in the product. It's also just, again, a nice clean way of showing your product if you don't have access to lifestyle photos. And then we made use of stock photos here with the isolated background, just to give that link between the actual product and for who it's for, like pets. So I think this is also a good way of improving your listing if you don't have lifestyle images, if you don't have too much photos of your actual product. Just inform your client about the product in a way like this thing.
It's also the first infographic to ever make me laugh, which that dog is quite a cute little fellow there. Nice infographic.
Yeah. And that's also a thing, now that you mention it, to do. Bring a bit of humor into your infographics. Entertain people with your infographics. That's a good way to connect with your potential buyer. I personally think so.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that honestly, if I was buying this product, I think I might even, potentially could share that picture with someone, and then all of a sudden, other people know about this product. So yeah, there's definitely something to that for sure.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned with the packaging as well. Be bold. Don't be afraid to be so static and clean. And I mean, this is a clean image, but there's something fun and humoristic about it that, like you said, makes you want to share it with other people. And that's what you want. You definitely want your potential clients to share, and and especially if they can share images with other people, that would be great.
Yeah, it's all about trying to stand out at the end of the day, and infographics seem to be one of the ways you can definitely do that.
Yes, definitely. Here we have a very natural green product as well, Earth-Kissed bamboo toothbrushes. It's also that they don't have lifestyle images like people actually using their product, but something as simple and clean as this, and they are showcasing their packaging here, which people already like, especially when they receive that in the mail and their packaging actually looks like that. And then just explaining a few points about their product. The main thing that you want to do is to focus on the actual product, and then you want to highlight a few points. So there are 3 points that we wanted to highlight. It's 100% organic, vegan, panda friendly. So if you want to read more up about why we say it's 100% organic, then you can go and read that. But people don't always want to read that, but you still want to give them the option of having that information there. So if they just, want to scan through everything and that's a quick read, that might change their mind to your product as to someone else's. But it's always good not to have a lot of text, but just inform them about why you make those statements as well.
Very nice.
And then here we have another image just on an isolated background. And here's where I talked about zooming in on your product and highlighting that certain features. Like you can see here the handle, the fact that it's waterproof, and it's BPA bristles with medium stiffness. Something like that, it makes the potential buyer excited about this product, especially if you have these kinds of high quality images and you can zoom in like this, and it evokes trust at the end. Okay, so that's what we have about information about infographics. That's one of the services that we, as Outline-Matic, offer to Amazon sellers. It's a very good way of, if you do have a limited budget, to have your listing stand out, increase sales, is you can start with your listing. If you have a good looking listing, good looking infographics to quickly turn around a potential customer into a buyer, that's definitely what you want, and that's something that you can definitely achieve with a few good infographic images.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that was a really good presentation. It certainly taught me a lot about an area I don't know a lot about. I really like the examples as well. I think that's going to give the viewers of this video a lot of different ideas for their infographics. And like you said as well, you guys do infographics. And I see there's a coupon code at the bottom left of the screen here, right? So that's coupon code FBA15. And that gets a 10% discount on outlinematic.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, look, Mariska, I really appreciate you taking us through this topic. And I think that's it. Have a great day.
Thank you, too, and thanks for your time.
Bye-bye.